Is it finally time? Time I get a shirt that fits? I mean, time to work on one of the most exciting projects I've ever had. This guitar is one of my bucket list guitars, and I was lucky enough to pick one up. I believe this is a 1 year only guitar, and that year is 1931. So far, I've only been able to find evidence of 3 others. It's experimental and definitely ridiculous. This, ladies and germs, is the Slingerland Maybell Recording Master. And yeah, sure, I know you've seen pearloid pickguards before and pearloid fretboards, maybe even pearloid headstock veneers, but what you aren't going to see anywhere else, oh, the case is going to fall, is a full body pearloid wrap and pearloid wrapped neck. I hear you. Looks great, right? Doesn't look like that hard of a project compared to some of the stuff I take on, but the repairs this guitar needs are intensive, even though it looks pretty decent. Let's start with the fact that it needs a neck reset. Big deal, eh? I've done dozens of those, but celluloid is a highly volatile material. A neck reset involves heat, and celluloid likes very much to catch on fire and burn. While many of you may not have heard of cellulose nitrate, many more will have heard the term nitrocellulose, and the terms are interchangeable. Nitrocellulose, you may recall, is basically an explosive. It is a compound created by nitrating cellulose, which means you expose it to nitric and sulfuric acid. One of its first major uses was as a propellant in firearms. It was called gun cotton. And I suppose the most common use for nitrocellulose in the guitar world is finish, nitro. It's a very common and popular finish, but it's highly toxic, and I try not to use it. It's also famous for catching fire in theaters because they used to use it as the film that was projected with a very hot heat lamp, and as it degraded, it became more likely that it would catch on fire, or if the film stalled, it could catch on fire, causing a lot of issues and deaths. Another thing celluloid likes to do is shrink. So a lot of these veneers on the fretboard have shrunk, and as a consequence have come loose. The shrinkage has also led to a cupping of the bridge, which has pulled it up. And the shrinkage of the pickguard has led to a rather severe dip in the board. You likely noticed that there are a handful of soundboard cracks as well, but these are inconsequential compared to the other repairs we have to do. And by far the hardest repair we have to do to this guitar today is inside. Here, come have a look. Ooh, X-bracing, nice, right? But womp womp, the X-brace has broken. Looks like we also need to repair the bridge plate. Normally for a repair like this, a broken X-brace, one would want to pull the back and be able to do the work in an open environment. But
what?
Shrinkage.
Significant shrinkage.
The amount that this celluloid has probably shrank over the years means that if I pull the back, everything is going to collapse inwards. And getting it back into shape to glue the back on might be all but impossible. So I need to fix that broken X-brace through the sound hole. So where do we even start with a project like this? Let's take off the bridge. You can see there's tear out here coming in this direction on this side of the soundboard. Typically, a general rule is that a soundboard is book matched. And so if you have tear out coming this way on this side, the tear out will come this way on this side. So on this side of the soundboard, the bass side, we want to put our knife under the bridge going this direction, and on the treble side we'll go this direction to avoid as much grain run out as we can. It seems likely that someone already tried to re-glue this without doing a proper repair, and there is some damage from that. And we'll start cold, see how it goes. It could be brittle glue. Oh yeah, that part was easy. Okay. Okay, let's try the bass side. Okay, we're under. Again, not a lot of resistance. Hopefully, we're only picking up bridge, not soundboard. Definitely some material coming loose there, you see. Not what you like to see, but I have a feeling this bridge is going to be damaged and we'll have to make a new one. Okay, that sound was this. That's good. Yeah, I can tell there's going to be damage under this bridge. It's definitely seen some before. It's those last few percents that are really holding me back on this bridge. They're really on tight. Somebody must have shoved something like epoxy in there. Dirty son of a... Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Look at that. Somebody did put a bunch of maybe wood glue in there. Okay. The damage isn't horrendous. It looks like there's some previous repairs. Somebody got under the wood here. But we should be able to salvage this without too much work. There's the bottom of the bridge. Only a little bit of the soundboard got away. A lot of it looks like it came up when it first curled. Speaking of curled, I'd hate to use something other than celluloid for this iconic guitar's bridge, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to separate the maple from the celluloid to be able to make a new one. I guess we'll find out. The reason I could twist it in the middle is there appears to have been a little dowel installed right in the center there. Oh, 1, 2, and 3. 3 dowels were installed. That's a pretty diabolical move, to be honest. And now we've reached the point where I realize why I haven't started this project yet. We are looking at a pretty bad dip in front of the bridge, right at the line of the bridge plate, just like on the 1860s German guitar I fixed recently, where I had to put a bigger bridge plate in to reinforce that area. It's pretty brutal. Here's a better perspective. Ouch. This guitar was by far the most expensive acoustic guitar Slingerland sold at the time. You could buy the exact same guitar, spruce over mahogany, without the celluloid for $15, but this guitar was $50. That's the same price a Gibson L1 would cost you in 1931. As I mentioned, I've only been able to find 3 other examples of these. One was for sale at Retrofred. It appears to have sold. One at Bernunzio Guitars, and one on the website of a guy named Mark Ebry, who seemingly has been misguided into thinking he's got a rare tailpiece variant, but this is a ubiquitous German tailpiece from the late 20s, so it's era correct, but it definitely didn't come on this guitar from the factory. And yes, I have one. Ooh, I just found what may be a fifth example. It's hard to tell without comprehensive pictures, but you can definitely tell one apart from the other because the celluloid pattern is going to be different on each one. In 1930-31, as well as today, Slingerland is best known for being a drum company, and that is where they got their celluloid skills, because most often drums back then were wrapped in celluloid, but they did not offer this color on their drums. It was only on the guitars and banjos, I believe. All right, let's get this neck off. Psych! That kind of neck reset style has a name. It's named after some poor, unfortunate city. Can anyone remember what? It's like New York neck reset? That's not it. Nashville neck reset? No, it doesn't have an alliteration. Chicago? I don't know. You tell me. Well, it's tucked under the fretboard. When approaching a challenging job like this, sometimes you just need to take a break and do something simple and easy, like squeeze a little glue into this hairline crack. This area is perfectly level, so I'm not going to put any clamping pressure on it. Just let the glue stick it together. Here's one that's going to need a little clamping pressure. There we go. So freeing up the fretboard overhang didn't go well. There were some pre-existing cracks I felt underneath, and it doesn't feel like I did the greatest job of separating it from the soundboard, but what I am looking forward to is seeing the original color of this, because it's going to be much brighter greens and reds, maybe. We'll see. But to see that, we need to pull off the neck. To pull off the neck, we need to pull off at least this one fret marker, and then guess where the dovetail would be. Wouldn't it be amazing if I had another example of a Slingerland guitar here with the neck off? What's this? Slingerland! Ding, ding, ding. Look at this. They've got really small neck blocks, so we can see exactly how far in from the 12th fret that the dovetail goes. And hopefully it's similar. This is a very similar era and basically the same construction minus the celluloid. This particular guitar is in incredible condition, very beautiful, and we'll make a perfect comparison video for celluloid versus non-celluloid guitars. Look, I nailed the location when I was taking off this neck for the dovetail removal. All right, now I pulled out 3 frets, and I'm going to pull out these 2 pieces of celluloid because I think the joint's going to be right here around the 13th fret slot. Any guesses of what material the fretboard's going to be made out of? My money is on maple. But I guess we'll find out in a second. Still not sure. It almost has the appearance of fir. I suppose since it's darker than maple, it could also be pear, but it could also just be discolored from glue and age. Now, if my other Slingerland is an accurate representation, then the dovetail should end right here around 13 millimeters. And we're looking at about a 35 millimeter spread here. There was basically no resistance, so I know I hit the gap between the dovetail and the neck block perfectly. Love it. Now to put in my foam cutters. I got them set to around 5. And I got my little water bottle that I use to refill my D'Armond tremolo unit. I keep meaning to make a neck pulling jig and yet never get around to it. So I'm just gonna do the old wiggle move. It's only been 5 minutes so far. We're gonna see if we can get some movement. It's wiggling. Okay, we're at less than 10 minutes now, and I think it might work. Let's try again. Gosh darn it. The thing about these foam cutters is sometimes they don't let go, or they do let go. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, and there's that bad damage under the dovetail. Yikes. All right, here you can see there is damage to the soundboard, but you also get to see the color of the rosette. Let's wet that a little bit. Yes, so cool. That's what it looks like now. That's what it looked like new. And of course I am going to piece this all back together with some glue and get it sturdy again. All right, that's all pieced back together and clamped in place with a flat piece of plexiglass. And now we wait. So all of the celluloid pieces seem to have this matrix of fibers glued to the back, I guess to interface the celluloid with the wood. And there appears to be some on the dovetail as well. This cupping is highly discouraging. You'd almost want to make an entirely new fretboard. Oh, good. The plastic was threatening to stick to this, but luckily I got it off before it was all the way dry. For underneath this area, I'm going to make what is known as a popsicle brace. This one's going to be pretty thin and cedar, but it's going to also double as cleats for all of the sensitive areas, including where this pickguard was scored in. And this hairline crack here, another hairline crack here. The cedar I'm using for this popsicle brace is one of the leftover pieces from the first failed attempt at a soundboard for the tenor harp I made, and it started out as driftwood. If you've ever wondered what those little finger braces are off an X brace, well, this is a good example of why they're useful. With some clamping, this comes kind of flat, but I think I'm going to need to add a lot of heat if I'm expecting it to stay there at all. Well, I'm trying a little moisture with these clamps. Just a little bit of water. We'll see what happens. Romantic. Let's see if the moisture, oh boy. I will say it's looking significantly better. Not perfect, but a lot flatter than before. Still pretty terrible. We gotta pull out this bridge plate. Now, we're not just pulling out the bridge plate because it's damaged, we're pulling it out because this. We need to reshape the soundboard, and to do that, we're going to make a triangular bridge plate that comes forward of the front of this dip. This dip, it now aligns perfectly with the front of the bridge plate and only exacerbates the problem when you have tension on. There's also this split in the soundboard, which has been previously re-glued. And so there are many reasons to reinforce this top. And I take it off of there and I put it into here. I can see it through the sound holes. I mean, whatever those things, pinholes. And then I flip the guitar over and hold it in place and wait for it to get hot. Screw it, I'm gonna heat it from this side too. Wow, the whole thing came out easily in one piece. And now I'm going to use neodymium magnets to lay out the new bridge plate location and angles. The first one, I kept adjusting the angle over and over again until it became pushed too far up. And so I'm going to start from scratch. This is more of the angle. It's kind of like 85 degrees, just a little bit off of 90. All right, been working on this new bridge plate. This thing is admittedly enormous, but given the structural change I want to occur in the guitar, I think it's worth it. These guitars already sound pretty tight, so I'm certainly not going to be helping that, but I want it to be vaguely flat. Before I put the new bridge plate in, I am going to glue these sections back together because otherwise glue might squeeze up in there and they may not end up level. So we'll start there. Okay, I'm literally just going to hold this in place because none of my clamping options work to keep these together. So, a little patience. Alright, I double side taped some spacers so that my clamps can clamp this to the soundboard, and then I'm going to put a large flat object on top of the soundboard to put the clamps on the other side. I would love to use hot hide glue for this process, but I feel like I need the open time, so I'm going to use fish glue. All right, here we go. Damn it. Because I was a moron and I didn't do a dry run, I had to switch up real quick and use something else as the flat top. And now I need to double check that these are in the right place. I'm going to use my inspection camera. Really, I should have made a clamping call the exact shape of the bridge plate, but too late. All right, that is going to take a long time to dry and cure properly, so let's start looking at these tuning machines. Now, I have worked on these 2-tab Grover tuners before, and by and large, the biggest fault point is right here. There's required tension in between this metal collar and the actual housing, and that tension is usually held by a gasket of sorts, and these gaskets die, and then the tuners slip. So, I'm going to have to make new gaskets, probably out of leather. And you want to make sure you use a screwdriver that's the right width for the slot, or you're going to damage your screw heads. All right, I let this glue overnight, and now we shall see. Okay, here it is. Bridge plate is in, didn't shift, it's still in the right location. This doesn't look great, but it's going to be all firmed up. Sounds pretty nice. Pull off the clamping cauls. The straight edge, it looks rough, but to the naked eye, it looks pretty decent. Now I have to decide whether I'm going to pull all the frets, pull all the fret inlays or overlays, and what I'm going to do about the fretboard. This is kind of funny. Look. The nut had 2 attempts. No wonder it wasn't sitting flat. I really doubt there's a way to do this job properly without pulling all the frets, so we'll start there. I really don't know what to do about this bridge. The celluloid seems to be extremely well adhered to it. Presumably these screws were added later. I don't remember seeing those in the soundboard. There they are. I decided I'm going to put some hot water over this and see what happens. Well, it smells delicious.
It's delicious.
Like wet, hot hide glue.
Not to say that it's bad, but it's definitely an acquired taste.
But showing no signs of separation. I got soaked at the same time, but look, it's starting to work. This front edge is loose. Yes. I do think that this previous glue is getting in the way of my process here. You can see the wood is a little drier than it is in the places where it's separated. So we'll clear that off while it's soggy. All right, these stupid dowels. Yes. Uh-oh. Well, I seem to be getting it off, but can I get the color back? We're making some progress. Still hideous. I think I can buff it out. This is what it looked like originally. This is after a little bit of work. I hope I can get it pretty again. Now, this might be a circumstance in which somebody would call this the dog's bollocks.
The dog's bollocks.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I gotta look that up. Obviously, literally, dog's bollocks means the dog's balls or testicles, which you wouldn't think would be a good thing. So it can either be like, oh man, that's the dog's bollocks, or positive. It could be, hey, that's the dog's bollocks. I feel like it might, I don't know. Well, this is an interesting insight into how they did this particular celluloid, though. That seems they used a green base and then went over it with a clear perloid. Previously, I had always heard that it was a, sort of generic gray or white perloid and then sprayed with a colored top coat, which is what appears to be the case on this Oahu amp. All right, this is what we're looking at in terms of the current bracing. Everything seems pretty good over here, except for some bellying. And this is all dipped, so I'm thinking about adding 2 finger braces. Might go out from the X. Maybe something like that, and something like that. Or perhaps something like this. All right, before I can put in the finger braces, I need to fix the X brace, and first I'm going to level it with some 80 grit sandpaper on this piece of maple. Also, I'm pretty tired of all the floating around in the guitar, so I'm gonna dump it out now. This is not going well. Still working on this brace, sanding it down. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to pull the entire thing out, but I think structurally it would prefer to have a continuous brace, even if it's just partial, that goes under the other half of the X. So we're gonna try and get this thing flat and top it with some more spruce. And if that doesn't work, we'll pull it out. I guess there's kind of progress there. Okay, basically what we have here is a quarter sawn spruce brace that I'm going to use to cap the broken X brace that I've now leveled. And we're just gonna hope to heck that that's gonna do the trick. Because this part of the fretboard is dipped, we are gonna be doing the finger braces, but also I'm going to clamp a stiff piece of wood to the top so that it is flat when it glues, and hopefully wood will retain some of that. This is the piece I'm going to use on the top, and I'm just going to soften these edges so I don't make any indentations when it's clamped in place. I neither want to use too much nor too little glue. I don't want a bunch of squeeze out in there, nor do I want gaps. So I'm just gonna go on feel here. It's a light but thorough coat. No real excess. I'm gonna slide it in by feel. I don't want to get wood glue anywhere but the very top of that brace. So put it in, and I'm gonna re-angle my hand. And I'm not gonna videotape this because it's not gonna be that interesting. You'll see me in a second. And yes, I did a dry run this time, so I shouldn't F this up too bad. Okay, here's my clamping setup, and we'll take a look inside and make sure everything's lined up. Okay, I'm gonna reach in there and clean up any of that squeeze out, but it looks like we've got it all in place. Maybe we need one at the very end. I added a fourth clamp just to make sure. I'm as yet undecided whether I'm going to take off all of the overlays, but I'm going to start with the fretboard extension because it appears to be the only section that is deformed, aka cupped. So we're going to pull off the rest of these and the binding. They're not all easy. Screw it, they're all coming off. Seems inevitable with this dirt in here that I wouldn't get good adhesion if I just try to sneak some glue back under, so we're gonna clean up the whole board, take off every one, stick them back on. All right, now I have the first finger brace in. I'm going to glue them in one at a time because I can't really do an accurate job without doing that. It was hard enough to get this one in because my clamps are just not quite the right lengths. All right, let's make another finger brace here. As with the first one, I used this as a spacer, so they're all going to be that separation. Like there's the X, one block, finger brace, one block, finger brace. And we matched the angle of the guitar there, and we will glue that in. There's a little damage we'll fix first. A little double-sided tape on the spacer block to hold it in place. And there we have it clamped in, and I checked it with my inspection camera. Really handy to have an inspection camera for this type of thing. Now for some disappointing news. You may have noticed that this video is coming to a conclusion, and yet the guitar is completely in shambles still. I've never done this before, but this is going to have to be my first two-part video. Believe me, I'm as disappointed as you are. We've made some small progress, mostly structural and invisible. For example, and we've had some failures. But all we lack in progress, we gain in anticipation. So in the next video, the next installment of this video, we will be making a new bridge. We will be reapplying the veneers to the fretboard, refretting, new nut, fixing the tuners, maybe making an end pin. We'll see. There's so much more to do, and so I couldn't keep going on this video, and we'll have to. See you next time.
When the mists roll in splendor from the beauty of the hill, and the sunshine warm and tender falls in kisses